Additional Secretary and now looking after the foreign assistance as Chief of Foreign Aid in PND Department, Balochistan. Through the discourse that we are going to have, it will be revealed to you that why we are here and why we have requested you to come, and we pay our gratitude for your presence here today. I am having a presentation in which we will be giving you an idea of public investment management, because the whole activity is around public investment management and the planning processes. This is just for your background so that you can have an idea that what kind of challenges that are facing Balochistan and what are the PIM issues, to be very specific, and we are very brief in that. And then we are going to ICT intervention and the expected outcome. This is the area where we will be requesting your feedback as well, and any suggestion or any question that you put forth, and then the indicative scope of work. And at the end, we will be talking of procurement as well. And for that, I'm being assisted by my specialist. I guess I can allow you for any question during the presentation. You can just simply raise your hands and then you can ask your question, so that it is not a monologue, it becomes something interactive and we understand each other properly. Starting from the public investment management and planning processes, it is the P&D department in each province, like the Planning Commission at federal level, that is responsible for the overall planning of a province, for development, for raising human development indices, for improvement of the socio-economic indicators. And rules of business, as reiterated at the bottom, says that to plan judiciously the scarce financial resources to improve socio-economic conditions. So it becomes very simple that what is P&D up to for public investment management. Now, if we debundle the same thing, you can see that it is a top to bottom and bottom to top approach, where P&D is involved and interacts with almost 30 plus departments in Balochistan, and then several authorities, divisional commissioners, and the civil society itself. And similar, it goes for the implementation and the planning it has got. And similar is true for the feedback from the same offices that P&D department receives through the mechanism of M&D, and the feedback that is otherwise received through the public representatives, or media, or social media, so that it can put dent in the planning process. There are over 15 sections in the P&D department then. These sections are then specialized to deal with each respective sector, and each section is headed by one chief at P&D department, and above them we have joint chief economist and then the chief economist, so that the planning is done properly in mechanized way. This is what the Planning Commission guidelines and manuals say in theory, but what is the problem at practical, we let you know just shortly. And then the same institutions then take care of the planning processes and the commission forms that we have by the name of PC1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You might have heard that. And this we are supposed to be following in terms of conception, formalization, implementation, completion, and impact assessment. Now, when we come to the issues of public investment management, I really wanted to have detailed slides on it, but given the limitations of the time, we just restricted ourselves to the bullet points and just letting you know very briefly. When we say resource constraint, it is meant for financial or monetary terms as well as HR. We have several slides developed on it, but I'm just going to let you know one or two indicators so that you can have an idea when we talk of Balochistan that how big a province it is to be funded by resources. One indicator is of the road density, if I talk about very simply. And for developing countries, it is considered that 1.5 kilometer metal road should be there in 1 square kilometer. This is an indicator considered appropriate for developing countries. When we talk of Pakistan and then Punjab and then KP and then FATA, we are not considering them, we are just comparing ourselves with FATA alone. And if Balochistan want to get to the standard of FATA, let alone the other provinces, we still require 170,000 kilometers of roads. Now, if we consider 1 kilometer of road over 100 million that is required for that, then you can, 10 million required for that, you can simply multiply and you can understand what amount of resources is required only for the roads, let alone the rest of the indicators, because we have almost 2 million children out of school. We have 70% area in the province that is not covered by primary health care at all. So the resource constraint is very much. And then the planning processes are not being implemented in our case properly. It is manual, it is ridden with political influences. And this is something that about which our chief economist is very vocal at various places. Even we are facing a case in High Court where I myself have been going there, and he has been called for the last 2 years that we are not following properly the processes that are being reiterated or indicated in planning manuals and guidelines. And what does that do? It allows for political influences. Believe me, at the last night of formulation of PSDPs, we have been asked to include schemes. Now we are just conveyed the name of the scheme and we have to include that in our PSDP. This is a situation. And then we talk of the compiled data. I mean, whatever we have done on the ground in terms of construction of schools or primary health care units or basic health units, we do not have that readily available or available in real-time terms. So whatever we plan for the next year, we are totally in disconnect with what we have already done. That is why we have done or created a mess in public investment management in Balochistan that we have to look into. And then monitoring as per Planning Commission guidelines or planning manuals is a constant feature, because in the whole planning process, if there is no monitoring and evaluation, your planning process is not complete at all, because your decision is not informed. If you are not getting any feedback from the ground, what is going wrong, what was not useful, what was useful, how can you plan for future? So we are just planning haphazardly with wish lists and political nuisances. Whoever has got a big political nuisance, he gets the majority of the resources. And since Balochistan is a coalition government, one party government is not possible in Balochistan, so we are always vulnerable to compromises in that terms. And that ends up in consequences. I have 2 special slides ahead of my presentation, but simply it is gives us time overrun. We cannot complete our schemes on time. It gives us cost overrun. And in some cases, it simply gives us wastage of resources at the same time. And then in that case, it gives us undue financial burden. I have a special slide on that. I will explain it there. And most importantly, it is the opportunity cost. If you are not able to complete your schemes on time for health or education, you are not having yourself benefited from those schemes, and the opportunity cost it has got in it. And it is in hundreds of billions. Just 1 or 2 slides for your understanding. You can see at the bottom, the blue line. It shows the allocation for new schemes, whereas the yellow line shows the allocation for, the blue line shows for ongoing schemes and the yellow line is showing for the new schemes. Whereas ideally, any PSDP or ADP should have at least 80% allocations for the ongoing and just 20 to 30% for the new schemes. In our case, it is otherwise, it is vice versa. And you can see the red line, it is the throw forward, because when you carry out a scheme in 1 year with which has got 100 million and you spend 10 million on that, you do not complete it, the next year the remaining 90 million is burden upon you, and you introduce again a new scheme. That burden accumulates, which we call throw forward. And our throw forward, it was a study that I had carried out 2 years back when I had a training session from Georgia, and then I had carried out. After that, we have not carried out. But this figure of 164 billion throw forward has now crossed the figure of 400 billion. So if you have a PSDP of 50, 60, or 70 billion a year, and you have a throw forward of 400 billion, you can imagine the things that we are dealing with. Now it gives us wastage of resources, and if you construct a scheme and you do not complete it, your resources are wastage because of wearing away, and then you have escalation each year, you know that, and if you come back to a scheme and you want to complete that, due to escalation, the same contractor says that I'm unable to complete it now at the rates that I had been offered 10 years back. It is not possible for me, simply. So you have to increase the cost of that scheme almost 3 times or 4 times. And then the opportunity cost, we have talked about it. And it is also giving us burden that we are unable to introduce new strategic schemes that are really productive for us. Second slide, you can see the zigzag lines. This shows sectors. I mean, sector allocation must be consistent. If you invest in infrastructure and if you are not investing for productive sector and social sector, you are not able to have the gains for overall human development. So all the sectors must be consistent with similar allocations. In our case, you can see one line going up and the other going down. And it is happening because of the change of the government. The green line you can see that was for communication in People's Party government. And then the new government came of Dr. Abdul Malik. He went for education. The purple line went up. And the last government of Nawab Sanaullah Zairi, he wanted to bring water from Put Feeder by introducing a scheme of 40 billion, and then the black line goes up. So this is inconsistency. And this is again not giving us any result for the growth of economy in terms of GDP or livelihood or employment. And it has also affected institutional strengthening. Now, coming to the next slide, what do we really want now? How we are going to tackle with this issue? Because it is, after NFC award, we have realized that we have not been able to manage our resources properly. So the Planning and Development Department, after many sessions, consultative sessions, engaging specialists, having interaction with World Bank and many other people of the field. Even we went to all the provinces, we visited as a team and came to federal government. And then we said, no, we have to come up with some work on sector plans, having a proper growth strategy for province, as well as an ICT solution we are thinking might be an answer to all the challenges that we are facing. So P&D department has recommended an IT intervention, and that I am going to reveal in a short time that what IT intervention we are talking about. And for this, we are thankful for the assistance of the World Bank. It is not only the question of the finances that are being provided from multi-donor trust fund. It is all about the technical assistance and the specialized services that are being given to government of Balochistan to make this intervention happen. The GPP, just giving you an introduction, next slide, is working on strengthening of department toward increasing revenue, one, and then looking after some interventions in public finance management, in public investment management. It is purely a governance project. Next. Now, after this ICT intervention, what are the outcomes that we are looking for as a government? The first outcome that we are looking after is improved efficiency of P&D department in all the respect that are required for planning processes. That we mean assessment, formulation, preparation of projects, schemes, and the whole processes of conceptualization, implementation, and impact assessment. And then having a proper monitoring and evaluation mechanism that would be inbuilt of this ICT solution or of this product that we are thinking. We will have some sort of mechanism that you are as expert of the field, you will also be suggesting us in giving your feedback on that, but we have already made our mind on that how we are going to, but this M&D framework is going to be part of this system. And then we are also talking of improved transparency, accuracy, facilitation among planners at upstream level and implementers at downstream level. Whatever we plan, whatever we do at P&D department, we let the PC1 pass, approved, let it to the department for implementation, and then we just simply authorize funds behind that. And at the ground, how they are doing it, how it is implemented, what are the problems, how the spirit of that project is deviated while implementation, we simply are unaware of. I mean, the institutional mechanism of feedback has been completely ruined. So this system must be in such a way interactive that in real time, every planner sitting at our development practitioner sitting in the middle of implementation should be aware of anything happening, any problem coming forth, and any strategy that is being devised to resolve that problem is part of this system. And then moving forward, what is the social impact? This is really important thing. It is not only the road or the bridge or the school, or you look for the social impact, the real change, behavioral change in lives of the people. So this system must be capable enough to give us impact assessment properly analyzed and evaluated, so that our decision is, I mean to say, our planning is, we can make it a live process for planning. Whenever and wherever we want to change it, we are able to change it. And then having all the government infrastructure and physical assets exhaustively geotagged and mapped. Whatever government of Balochistan has done previously and whatever the record is available with departments and P&D department, we have to have it integrated in the system, and we have to geotag it on the ground, so that if we plan any school or hospital at any union council level, we must be aware that what earlier interventions have already been carried out. At present, we are unaware. So this must be carried out through the same system.
How long in past do you want that?
Sorry?
Geotag all the assets of the government. How long in the past do you want to do that?
It depends, I guess, on the availability of the record. I can have the luxury of saying that from the last 50 years, but that would not be possible. I guess if from 70s or 80s, if it is possible. Otherwise, it depends on the availability of the record. Whatever record we have available with us, we will let. Because in some cases we have the paperwork, but the schemes now may be missing on the ground. In other cases, you have the scheme, but you do not have the details. When it was approved, what was the cost? This is the challenge. So, as far as we can go.
There was another question. You mentioned 6 sectors, but this is not an actual picture. Usually there are around 41 different sectors in Punjab. With that there is GDP. We more or less deal with 41 different sectors. So are these the only sectors you are interested in, or these are only few that you want to mention in this presentation, and there are more?
Which sectors? I guess in our case, all the sectors we are talking about.
No, we have 6, 7 development sector, the water, the communication.
No. So that was for the purpose of understanding. But in our case, sectors are 30 plus in case of Balochistan as well. So we are not leaving behind any single sector. Even religious affairs would be part of our this automation process.
How do you think this system, the ICT system, will evaluate the social impact of your interventions, of your schemes, for instance? How do you think the ICT system would be able to help you evaluate? Usually there are some surveys conducted by the national or international organizations, evaluate this kind of impacts? How do you think that an ICT system would be able to evaluate that impact?
Actually, in our performance, as I mentioned, PC5 is the proper document for the assessment of the impact. But that at present we are not following that. Even at federal level, it is not being followed. For Punjab, I'm not sure. Sindh is doing now somewhat work on that. So, based on that PC5, we will develop assessment tools that will be made part of this Android mobiles, and you will have a proper app on that, and you will be asking people on that. Even you will be taking their pictures and videos for any particular scheme, so that you are able to assess the impact of those schemes. So proper performers are there. We have to just integrate that into this ICT solution. And any other questions? Should I move ahead? And then I was, I guess, on the third point. And then you can see the whole processes of identification, preparation, feasibility analysis, design, appraisal, approval, control in terms of administration as well as of finances, evaluation and follow-up throughout the project cycle. So we are talking of all the processes that are involved in the planning process that would be part of this ICT solution. And then we are talking of having a baseline. And as I said, that asset archiving will be done. Based on that, we will develop a baseline so that we are able to decide upon any project to either accept or reject. And then the financial control is also we are looking for, so that we can have all the phases that are involved for the releases and authorization of finances must be taken from another software of SAP that we have implemented successfully in case of Balochistan, and that data will be integrated into our ICT solution, and that will let us know for the integrated financial phasing and financial control. So at the hierarchy, at any level, whoever is dealing with this system will be able to know and track the releases and authorization at any level. Now coming to indicative scope of work, the first one is the PSDP management. Simply, all the processes. I mean, the evaluation of new conceived project. Simply it is that if you have conceived, how can you evaluate that? There are mechanisms that even you can evaluate the conceived projects. So starting from that till the impact evaluation. So this PSDP management is going to be our first scope. And then the financial and budget management, as I said earlier, that each and every stage we will be cognizant of the finances and allocations, authorizations and releases and utilization. And then the employee profiling. When we say that ICT solution, it will have different nodes attached to it. It is not only the planning department that will be dealing with this software. We will have to have nodes established at line departments. We will have to have nodes established at divisional commissioners' offices, at district deputy commissioner offices. So we have more than maybe 200 or 300 users attached with this system. So we have to have their profiling in terms of their rights of usage. Who and at what level is authorized to interact with this system. And then we will have a communication module developed within the system. If any change is coming up at department level or at district level, a chief programming will be able to communicate through the same system that why this change has taken place. Or any change is taking place at P&D level, at the bottom anyone can interact within the same system that why this change has taken place. And the same responsible guy has to react to that. Otherwise, query will lies on his part and responsibility will rest with him. So this communication channel has to be developed through all the tiers in this system. And then we have push and SMS notifications with this system. If any change is taken place at any level, all the people concerned related to that particular change will be given SMS and messages so that he is aware of the change. And he can either be satisfied with the change or can put query that why this change has taken place. And this system will be capable enough to let me know what is happening around any scheme or project. When we say automation of PSDP complete processes, I mean PC1 to PC5. Okay. And then, okay, this is about the PSDP book we are talking of this regarding this point. That, like you have seen at federal level, that you issue a PSDP book or ADP book, and we call it a budget book each year that is passed through provincial assembly. That budget book has got new schemes, ongoing schemes, umbrella schemes, maybe block allocations, foreign assisted schemes. So this system must be capable enough to have a complete sorting, have a complete approach that we already have followed or following. So this must be dealing with that as well. And then I guess I have already explained this point. Saif, it is the same point, creating.
So we need to import the files in file shape each one.
Take mic in your hands and then.
Basically, the second point is about we need. Basically, we need the system to support port mechanism. We should import the file against like PC1, PC2, PC3 in well-known formats, or we should create online the same pages. It's like we should create the rich text box which support tables, data, compiled data. We can create online data. So in future, the PC1 data we are already uploading in the system should be used for research purposes or analysis of the data.
Okay. Coming to the third point, that it says about the compiling a checklist of requested PSDP schemes. What is done that whenever we receive a scheme as a proposed scheme for inclusion in PSDP, we receive just one pager, sometime no data, no support documents are attached with that. So this says that we will have a checklist developed. Let's say there are 10 checklists, and any scheme that is feed into the system from any department, that system should be intelligent enough to know that out of 10 checklist support documents, only 4 or 5 have been provided, 5 are still missing. So this system must have this feature in it. Based on this assessment concept project of PSDP scheme requested by other departments, then we will be able to, are in a position to decide upon the fate of that scheme. Relevant authority can assess the scheme using GIS assessment tools. So if you have this geotagged data of the schemes, and then the feasibility, the geographical area, the boundaries, that will help us, P&D department, to approve or disapprove any scheme. And then whatever data has been archived in the system, that just not be archived at pictorial level or something. Whichever sector will be dealing with any of the scheme for approval, that data will be active. I mean to say, for approval or rejection, that data must be available and coming forth and letting me know if you are giving or approving this for the particular building for construction at this union council. Already 2 buildings constructed in last 10 years exist there. So this system must be letting me know. And then I will see the adjacent union council where this system will be letting me know that no building at all exists there, so that P&D department is able to decide upon, take this new proposal to the adjacent union council or district or whatever. So this archive data management must be a feature of this system as well. Logs will be maintained, and that will be available at hierarchical level, taking from additional chief secretary to the PD, or maybe to the beneficiary, to a female beneficiary even, to the contractor. So what will be the nature of the log, to whom, what extent, that log will be available to anyone at this hierarchy will be the feature of this scheme. As I told, for the fund management, it must be either integrated, if not, must have a where in the middle of the two systems so that they can interact for data being taken from the SAP and integrated with our system. And then geotagging with portable devices, as I earlier told, that will be carried out through Android devices or maybe. Integration and implementation of monitoring evaluation indicator as per planning manual commission guidelines. All the indicators of M&E are there on performance, but those are going to be the part of the system, and those will be properly fed up. If they are not, the system will be letting me know for this particular project, the M&E indicators, such and such indicators are missing. Those have not been carried out properly for their feedback, and for this period those are missing. So that has to be a part of this system. And then integration of baseline data for three aspects. One is of the population of that particular area, geographical area, of particular administrative unit. In our case, as you all know, Union Council is the basic administrative unit. That data must be part of that. And any departmental intervention that has been carried out in that particular area must be feature of this system. And then up to UC level, then the boundaries, the roads, and other geotagged spatial data, information of the project assessment and all that. So more or less the same thing. And then the control and the release and tracking of funds, we have discussed that already. Establish and modify multiple levels of funds control. Again, it is based on the rights of any user sitting in this system. If it is chief programming, he will have a different user rights than as a Mujib just weaving any scheme. I will not be able to tinker. So we are setting up a proper control system in that at various levels. And then system response system will be there. If it is anything, if scheme is rejected, I must have a robust logic or rationale for that. If I accept, I must have a justification for that, so that whoever has proposed any project and I have rejected it, he will be able to assess it with the assessment tool or the sector plan, that why he has been rejected. He will be able to know that this was the flaw in his proposal. Or if I have done something wrong, he will be able to tackle it with me and P&D department or any official setting there. And then reporting modules for all the users. Everyone should be aware of anything happening around public investment management interventions taking place in the province. Whatever is happening now, even P&D department sometimes is not aware of one another. If one section is doing something, the other section sometimes has also initiated the same intervention. And at a decent level, they come to know that you should not be doing this because I had already initiated this. So this reporting modules for all the users should be there so that they can review the reports and according to user rights, they are able to interact with each other. For auxiliary support, it is a bit technical for me. I will ask Saif Rahman if he can explain these few points. You can come here.
Yes, this is we basically divided our assignment into 8 tasks. Basically, I am talking about as ICT perspective. Basically, the first task will be the complete SRS documentation, system requirement analysis at any stage, at any level. We should define each and every function at any stage. On the basis of and the second task is system design. System design.
किसी का मोबाइल ऑन इधर तरफ
The second is system task is system design. System design should be on the basis of SRS document which we developed in stage 1. System design should contain user interfaces, forms, system softwares, which system softwares we require, we need customization or we need new development, we need only customization or we need a proper ERP system. This will be decided on the basis of SRS and will be implemented in second task system designs. The third will be system development and system testing. System development will be conducted according to SRS and the testing will be done. We should have both testing, white testing and black testing. We should have both procedures and every procedure have all the required documents that will be need, and for future customization we should have each and every documents regarding these modules, procedures, class or files or modules. The fourth is system implementation and acceptance. System will be, each and every module will be separately implemented. Like we ask about the baseline data. We initially design a very well designed ERD that will be properly normalized. After normalization, that ERD will be implemented on the basis that form will be generated. We initially start work on baseline data. Then the second module, the PSDP automation. As we already asked about the archive data will be the data we already, we are basically using some software which have ERD and we are compiling the PSDP. Almost 10 or 5 years we are already compiling data on that ERP. We need a views or that type of modules that archive that data from that system to our new system. So our old data should be used in this system. And acceptance. So each and every model will be, we should apply a proper software development life cycle model. Each and every module will not be accepted until it will complete the life every cycle almost 2 or 3 times after the black and white testing. The 5th task is the training. Every module we should have a video tutorial, manuals and text tutorial, English in Urdu for each and every forms, modules, assessment tools and mobile devices. And we need integrated modules. Mobile data should be synchronized with the main system. If it is offline, it should be synchronized when it comes to online. We have both pictures synchronized. Offline should be used as online on offline devices. We need you should have to decide which Android system we will use for operating system and other system requirements, sir. Maintenance and softwares. System, we need a proper system software checklist. Which system softwares we require, like which RDBMS systems required, which GIS tools we have to purchase, and which hardware we have to purchase to implement the software. And we also require some information regarding backup and recoveries, databases, server rooms, each and every aspect regarding system software and hardware system we require from your sites. The last will be the source code. This source code will be the property of a P&D department. So if P&D department want to sell this product or part or any part into any other department, you should implement that. Similar.
Thank you, sir, for